Good evening. Today we're going to talk about how to take pictures at night without a tripod, therefore using a very high ISO because we're hand holding these things, and how to deal with noise. High ISOs mean lots of noise, and I'm going to show you how to do that without a tripod and without getting a lot of noise. Okay, we'll see you out there. It's late and it's dark, and you're out there because you want to take pictures. You know you're going to get a high ISO. What are you going to do? Live with it? You don't have to. I'm going to show you how to handle it. And to make it even a little more difficult, I'm going to use a very small camera with a very small sensor. This is the Sony RX100 Mkiii. I've had it for years. It's actually very, very good. But it has a 1-inch sensor. How are we going to manage that? What I've got here right now is, for settings, ISO is on auto, aperture is on 1.8. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go and take a couple of shots here and show you the processing when we get back. Right, let's go. Right, that's it. I've got a few other shots already in the bag. I'm going to head home and I'll show you a trick. Let's go. So here we are back in the office. What I normally do first is load up the raw files into Lightroom, and this is where I do a bit of pre-processing. I've also selected my Optim files here for this example. As you can see on the right, some of the pre-processing. Here we are, zoomed in, ISO 3200. It's as noisy as. All right, just looking around very quickly. And if we click through them, we may also be able to see that they're not really in the same place. And once we've done that, we'll save them as TIFFs and then open up Photoshop, go down to the load files as into stack. Here we can select the files that we've processed. And once we've done that, here we go, got them all now. Once we've done that, click the auto align box here, and there's another option, convert to smart object. Don't click that now, we'll do that later. Okay, here they go, loading the stack. And you can see that one of these layers really doesn't belong, so we'll delete that right now. Going through each layer, turning them off one by one from the top down, we can see if they are correctly aligned or not. And they aren't. So, how do we fix that? Okay, I zoomed in and I've set some guidelines to mark rather obviously an important part of the image, which we would like to look good at the end. Also adding a couple more guidelines. We'll see in a moment. Alright, now comes the tricky part. This is when you use the keyboard up, down, left and right arrows. Starting from the bottom, turn on the second layer, select it, use the arrows to go left or right, deselect, select again. Next image, the same process, up, down, left or right until you're satisfied that they are aligned correctly. Right, speeding up the process again until we've got them all in a good position. Here we go. Once you've done that, you can select them all and convert to a smart object. It also normally takes a few moments. And we can also remove the guidelines at this point. We don't need to see these ones anymore. And now the magic happens. We'll zoom in again so that you can see the effect. Choose the layer tab, scroll down to the smart objects, and then look at the stack mode. In the stack mode you'll find a number of options, and we'll choose mean. And let that process. Hang on to your hats, everybody. Boom. That's amazing. Look at that. Here's a check on the before and after. Just go down to the history tab. Before and after. That's pretty amazing, actually. The rest of what I'm doing here is really just a topic for another video. I've cropped it to a 4x5. I quite like the 4x5 format. And I've added a few more guidelines. Why is that? Well, I like to correct perspective. Left and right perspective, horizontal and vertical perspective. And sometimes you get some really strange distortion that you're not satisfied with. So just doing this rather quickly here, selecting the whole image, going down to the transform tab, and I'm using skew just to pull up the left side a little bit and down on the right side. You can see we're pretty close already. Don't really have to do very much more to that. The right side's a bit off, but that's it. It's done. Once you've done that, save it. And I prefer to save again as a TIFF. I'll just give it a new name for this particular example. And then you can do whatever you like with it. I normally pop back into Lightroom and do some fine tuning here, some final adjustments. I look at my black points and then the white points, so on, colors, the HSL tab, using a brush to make a few corrections, deal with highlights, radial filters, again the brush, all a subject for another day. You don't have to do any of this, that's just me. Here we go for the final crop. Got everything where I want it to be. And that's pretty much it. Export that again. Keep them as TIFFs at this point. Here we go. Before, one of the images before. Horrible, really, isn't it? Look at that. That's what a mess. Okie dokie. And then we have the clean image. Look at this. Once, here we go. There's the final image. So that's it. I hope I was able to explain things clearly enough for you. Let's just run over the main points once again. Once you've taken your shots and done a bit of pre-processing on them, stack them in Photoshop. Use adjustments up and down, left and right if necessary to correctly align them. Then convert it to a smart object and select the mode mean, right? And that'll smoothen out all the pixels, the noisy pixels that are all over the place, to give you a much cleaner image than you would normally get from a single shot. Other than that, just go out there and have some fun. See you in the next one. You thought I wasn't going to do this, didn't you? Part of the job. Good night.